has so much momentum. Now, last week, I talked about 7 days. We're kind of coming out of that. It's going up in the street now. I got different proposals that I'm going to get into. Okay? Before I get into that proposal, I got some details I got to go over. First of all expense pays now. I want to let y'all know that we're still on. We're still going. And I want to let you know that you're still here. Like, you have a shot. You got to write today. Contest set up that so you can win all the It's a Fairmont property. There we're going to make another Fairmont property that will mess you up beautiful. We will take pictures and we will bring them back. Google the internet and you can see pictures. They won't do it justice. I've been there. I didn't even take pictures last time. I picked up my cell phone and I went, there's no point. There's no point. It's just, I think I did take a picture of one mountain. The guy was driving me. He's an entrepreneur, owned his own company, and he drove us around all week. He said, you see that right there? He said, I had a guy come up here from Texas. He said, they told me that there's around $10 billion worth of ore in that mountain right there, and they won't let us touch it because it's on national forest. I took a picture of that. You know what it looks like? A bunch of dirt. When I was there, it was like, my heart was just pounding. When I took a picture of it, let's look at a picture. You can't grasp it. It's that pretty. If you want to see something that pretty, the food, the people hanging out with Chris Long and Courtney Long might be the best part of it. Jane Albright, to laugh and giggle with her, might be the best part of it. It is a beautiful place, but the people we're going with, I want you to try to win. It's not over with. I do want to tell you that we are firming up the trip for the Mediterranean next year. The contest will begin January 1. I don't want to tell you that trip's going to be better now because I still need you to win the Banff trip, but it's going to mess you up Mediterranean. I mean, we're going to Cannes, we're going to Rome, we're going to Barcelona. There's 7 places we're going to land that'll just mess you up. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. So, okay, Forester's contest is still on. During this window, you don't win the trip to Banff. I understand. You joined late, your focus has been off, you got issues in your life, that's okay. But if you try to win, while you're trying to win this contest, these other insurance companies that have insane amounts of money, sometimes I say more money than they have sense, and I know they're watching too, so I gotta be careful, but I'm absolutely sure they got more money than they got sense. They're just throwing money at us. CFG is giving out cash money. And there's lottery tickets so anybody can win. Mutual of Omaha is giving out shopping sprees. Anybody can win. And now I've talked Forrester's giving us enough money that they're going to send us on a 3-day cruise that you can win. And we're going to give away, it looks like right now around 30 cruises are going to be given away. And I think 6 of them are going to be totally lottery. $2,500 in premium that you read. Can you imagine, what kind of a company does that? Like $2,500 in sales, woohoo, take you a Saturday morning, and you get a lottery ticket, we draw your name out, and you're on a 3-day cruise. And we're going to Nassau, which is pretty cool, because that's where Atlantis is. It's one of my favorite places in the whole wide world to hang out in Nassau. Or I should say in Atlantis, but the ship lands in Nassau, but Atlantis, you can see it from there. You can go over there. Okay. To be clear, all those are all still on. My schedule of events. Yeah, here we go. I am in Vegas in a couple of weeks. I'm there all from 2 p.m. to 5, and actually I'm there about 3 or 4 days, but I'm going to be training all day on that day. So if you know anybody, and by the way, Vegas has a lot of cool flights in from San Antonio, Texas. In other words, if you got people who can pop in and be there the 12th, I promise you it'll be worth it. We're going to be on fire. There are some people there that are killing it too that I want to introduce you to that live in Vegas. Then in Captiva, there are 10 couples that are going. Did that postcard happen? Did that postcard of Captiva happen? It did happen. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see it in the audience out there, but Eric and Bobby Belair are going to be there. They are smoking. I've looked at their numbers. Their graphs are unbelievable. He had a record income month. He'll probably be texting me. He had a record income month this month, best he's had in 6 years. I want him to text me, Eric. I think it was $64,000 this month. Wow. Here's the key. This month, he's going to break that record. Okay, his commission on one annuity sale is going to be around $60,000. Wow. So I'm looking at his first six-figure month. And this is a guy who had lost a $200,000 a year job selling cell phones for Verizon and needed to make $200,000 first year and failed. Only made $160,000 first year. Next year he made $180,000, and now we're talking about a $100,000 a month. I mean, nice people. Chris and Courtney Long, no doubt. This lady is one of my wife's favorite in the whole wide world. She keeps talking about flying, hanging out with her. Matter of fact, we were in New York. Me and Jane were in New York last weekend, and she was talking about eating fried pickles up here with Courtney. And she was like, "I'm gonna call Courtney and get Courtney to come back." James and Jane, we're so close to being James and Jane Hill. I hugged them both yesterday, and they're headed to Vegas for their pre-party for the wedding. Then they're going to California getting married, and then I think they're going to be in New York. So this couple will be James and Jane Hill. Y'all know how much, well, let me tell you, I love them. I text them both, tell them how much I love them. I'm proud of them. Now, Joe and Tina Dukes, if y'all have heard their story, I want Tina, it's out there, so I'm not going to give you her story. It's just an incredible story of overcoming and what she went through and how she's overcome it and how her husband was patient when she was dealing with it. Now, now they're together 100%, traveling, recruiting all over the world. Stephen and Holly Davis. Stephen's group has almost doubled since March. The Davies team is smoking, okay? And my prognosis of what he's going to do with the Davies team, the house he lives in Western North Carolina, it's crazy beautiful, crazy couple. I can't wait. I'm going to get to go down with Jane a couple of days early to Captiva. I can't wait to hang out with her for a couple of days. Bill and Diane Lampy, y'all know how they're going. Like, Bill's going, showing a plan, hiring people in Tampa. Diane is in Detroit. They're just all over the place. I'm fired up about getting them together for 4 or 5 days, and me together. I can't wait to hang out with them. The Carries from California I know they're coming in and spend 2 or 3 days with Tim and Gay Goad and the whole Goad family in Orlando, and then they're coming out to Captiva and spend time with us. And they're holding down the West Coast, but their business is all over the East Coast. It's all over the place. Adam and Beth Katz, who me and him go back 20-plus years. And Beth, and just as a family, as we remember hanging out with them in our little house in Dunn 20-some years ago. And now to travel the world with them, I just messed me up, excited. Mike and Noelle Leventovich, just like the Lampies, they're both flying everywhere. Can't wait to hang out with them, and Paul and Tamara Roberts. So we're going to be down there 4 days and just hang out, okay? This is what I would call the tight inner circle. Belair shooting me the numbers. I knew he would. 100,000, over 100,000, 73,000 he had deposited last month. 73,000 last month. Oh my gosh, over 100,000. Okay, so big deal. All these guys, the money they're making, they can afford to pay for their place in Captiva, but I'm going to take care of them dinners. We're having leadership training. We're going fishing. The whole thing, we're paying for all of that just as they're my buddies. You with me? They're getting there, and we're paying to take care of them, so I'm fired up about them. Okay, boot camps. So big news from, this is weird for me. Like I own a plane. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? Like I can't, I'm not sure. Do y'all have pictures of that? Okay, so unfortunately, I'm very upset because my plane is not ready yet. It's flyable now. It's airworthy now, but it's getting ready to go in the shop for 3 weeks of the most insane inspection you've ever seen. And I can say no if the inspection finds anything, or if the little, they call them, I don't know what they call it, wax or ticks or something like that, problems they find, if it's too much, there could be a negotiation. I could say no and walk away. So I'm not taking my plane. So I'm very upset about that. That's a weird thing to say to me. I mean, yeah, here's a picture of it. So we are going to Providence, Rhode Island, then Newark, New Jersey. I'll spend 4 hours in Providence, 4 hours in Newark, then the next day 4 hours in Columbus, Ohio, then 4 hours in Chicago, and then 4 hours in St. Louis and 4 hours in Nashville. So these tours are always intense. We always change people's lives. We always come across somebody that we're surprised, like how'd you come in my life? Like, where did y'all come from? Where did this couple come from? And so my deal, if I'm you, if I'm out there and I'm hearing this, I don't care if I'm in San Antonio, Texas, or if I'm in Bangkok, Maine, I'm going, who do I know that is near this city? And then if I've got 10 people in my organization, I am physically and literally saying, Terry, do you know anybody in these places? So every person, Beth, you ask, do you know anybody? Because the way we come in with the entourage, and we fly in on a private jet and then come rolling into these meetings, it's not normal, okay? It's just mind-blowing what happens, just like miracles happen. So I'm doing all I can to get my dice, to get my lottery ticket out there, Jeff. Like you just go through your phone. If you can search for these cities, and you talk to people that we've met in these meetings, they'll back this up. It's insane. It's craziness. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So Captiva. Yeah, this is where we're going to be hanging out. In Captiva. I want to see a couple of these. Not a bad location. It doesn't look like we're going to be slumming it next week. All right, so who is we have here? Okay, my buddies Revis and James. This is James Hill. We're talking about getting married this weekend. This is our plane. Why is 3 people on my steps? Only 1 person on the steps at a time. That's a rule. Okay, it's a sign right there that says that. I don't know what they're doing. We're surprised at how nice the interior was. What do we got here? Oh, not bad. The American ride and the Alliance ride, the Alliance fly right there together. That's just crazy talk right there. It just messes me up. And if insight to who I am, I can't quit thinking about a Mercedes S65. I mean, I'm going like, if I had a black Mercedes S65 right there, I mean, all that Range Rover mess. I missed my. I got it. I was. Monday, I was hanging out with this guy named Nito Quabain. I don't know if y'all ever heard of him. He's the president of High Point University. He's chairman of the board of BB&T Bank. And me and him hung out for an hour and talked. And then he was so fired up about stuff. He's like, please hang around and let me drive you around, show me around my campus. Now, the last time I saw him, he was like, y'all go walk around it. Well, this time, we spent an hour, and I jumped in his SL55 Mercedes. And I was like, I miss my Mercedes. That's how messed up I am when I show you a picture of what are you pulling? Yeah, a picture of that. Thank you, guys. And then I'm thinking about the Mercedes. It is a next program with me. This is worth it, Mac. I'm gonna tell you this. Success is sometimes your biggest failure. Okay, like. Success will mess people up. Like, for example, you get a job. You start making $75,000. You've never had it before in your life. And what you start doing, what people have a tendency to do that have success, they stop doing what it took to get there. You hear me? Success can be your worst enemy. I don't know if you've experienced this. I have. I've seen it, and I see it in people today. And the problem is, where do you want to have this problem? In other words, at $75,000 a year, or in my buddy Eric Belair, who is now solid $50,000 a month. Okay, he's solid over. He's going to go 70,000. He's going to go 100,000. He'll probably go back to 52. Actually, November, he'll probably be 70,000 again. But December, he'll be back to 50 because, you know, your income goes up like this. So what happens is you go up like this right here. And some people, when they hit that mark of success, they never go up it. Now, worse, they stop doing what they needed to do to get there. Like, for example, I knew a guy. He would go to every meeting, be on the front row. He would listen to every audio I put out 10 times. He would call me up and text me what he did that week. Oh, he would ask me if he was on track. He would ask me if he was doing anything wrong, and he would shut up. And he would listen. And he would read books. He would pay. If I said something was $100, he'd pay it. If I said, you got a chance to ride with me, it's $5,000, he'd pay it. He was that kind of a person. He'd find it for mom and daddy. And what happened is he hit this income level. Guess what he did? He was so fired up that he didn't need to read the book. He sure didn't need to ask Andy if he's doing anything right. What's the point? He's obviously hit it. Now, here's the way they do. Some people, they'll go on this track for a while. Some do this, crash and burn. The one I'm thinking about crashed and burned, like he's a mess. Like marriage fell apart, income, he's still living by himself. I wouldn't be surprised if he ain't back with mama real soon. And I'm telling you, his deal was 6 figures. If he could ever get to 6 figures, that's where he wanted to be. And this guy had made 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, 40,000, never 100. Once he got to 100, his head, I don't know, does that make sense? Success. So you've got to keep doing. So part of it is, when you hit this level, what level are you shooting for next? Got the jet, got the 100,000, whatever it is. If you don't have a what's next mentality, if you don't have a I got to keep doing what I did to get here mentality, you could hover here, you could do this, and at some point you've got to start doing what you did to get there. Success can be the worst. I would encourage you to have a next and keep remembering the basics. Okay? All right. That was free. I had that on my mind earlier, and I was going to wait, but I want to cover that with you. Okay, all right. Stuff that I got to do. All right. New proposal is out there. Oh, by the way, this is cool. At this particular time that Eric is killing it and Bobby, look at this. This is the next newsletter that's coming out. We also have the announcement that John Maxwell will be attending. This is coming out to everybody. I think it's being mailed out this week. When dreams come true. That's not a bad dream come true. This is Godfrey, the coach at NC State, and me hanging out with my son up in the Wolf's Den. We do the do. So, beautiful Jane Albright and her leading from the front. Pictures of Eric and Cheryl Lardy. Rick and Julie Pipes, Brant and Jael Swindale, Davis Hewitt, Bryant and Charity Marshall down in Atlanta, Glenn and Savannah Lamb, Adam Johnson, who Fitz tells me is smoking, Mark Hutchinson that Davies is bragging about, Devin Dunlap, you made the Newsweek, the magazine, Jasmine Lightborn and Samir and Ed and Anita Domingo. This is a great newsletter coming out, guys. You want to get, surprisingly, Bel Air said he wanted 1,000 copies. So nice article, great article, back from the brink. But I'm tell you what, he told me, he said he thought about ending it. I don't know if you ever had that. I don't know if you ever been that low, but he said he thought about it. He had grandbabies, parents were counting on him. Oh, this is the Ring of Champions poster that you can pull out is in there. The ring that we give out to everybody. All right. Speaking of that, January convention is going to be incredible. Do you have your ticket to your canyon? Oh yeah, that's another thing I did. He'd buy a ticket right when I told him he'd buy a ticket, but he started waiting a little bit longer, and then eventually he missed one. Success can be a problem. Hey, you want me to give you something? This is a next item. I get this book I'm going to do this. Hold on. So, Mac, this is another one I want to get, a comment that I want to get out. Having something next whenever you hit it is important. You got to dream. This gets you out of complacency. I subscribe to the Rob Report. I have for about 20 years. I didn't know what canali meant. I didn't know what the word was. I didn't know what a PTAC watch was. This right here, I know what it says because he always says it. You're not owning a Patek, you're just holding it for the next generation. Well, trust me, my son, he's got it, but he's like, Daddy, when do I get one of them? But these magazines, even this kettle, you haven't seen this kettle live yet that's on there. You're going to see it because I've been looking at it. Every time I turn around, I see this. This magazine has the insane cars in it. I subscribe to it. This one I have not looked at. You know why? Because it came yesterday. It was on my kitchen table. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give it away. When I give it away, people say, why do you give it away? I go, you think I subscribe to one? You think I got one subscription to this? Don't be silly. I encourage people to look through it and tear it out. My staff will tell you. My wife will tell you. My kids see me do it all the time. My kids do it now. We tear out stuff all the time, fold it up, carry it around our pocket, put it in our briefcase until it gets old and we throw it away, and then we see it again in the magazine, we tear it out again. And eventually it materializes like a jet. You look through this, you see how many jets. You see how many, this American ride, the inside, y'all seen, you maybe hadn't seen it's custom inside, fiber optics, music, insane. I looked at them, I finally bought one. You with me? Vacation home resort. The deck, I have pictures of the deck that when I walk out of my house that I drew 20 some years ago. No kidding. And it took, and by the way, you've got to dream. This subscription, listen, Alex Fitzgerald subscribes, Chris Long subscribes, Stephen Davies. I don't own this company. I don't get a piece of this company. What I get a piece of is your dream. You dream bigger, you do more, you get more results. Your success is my success. If I get you making multi-million, I win. Why, Andy? You understand I'm trying to change America. You understand I love this country. There is no country freer. There's no country that represents God better. It's no country that you can be an entrepreneur and you can change your life like America. So your success means another good person doing good. Another good person doing good, that means you're giving to the right charities, you're supporting the right politics, the whole deal. Right. My deal is to get you crazy and owning this stuff too. Let me tell you something. People say, well, I don't understand. How you going to be a good person if you got all that crazy wealth? Ain't you supposed to give it all away? Hey, the book I read said 10%. That's right. I give away 10%. After that, I can buy what I want to. Woo! What I'm talking about? Man, I saw that book. I said, I might give away 12% some months. I read about some guy, he said he started out giving 10% and then he's living on 90%. He made more money. He started living on 80% of his wealth and 10% of his wealth. I said, I ain't going to do that plan. I admire him, but what I'm going to do is make $1 billion and give away $100 million. Does that make sense? So, all right, subscribe to that. Keep that dream going, guys. Woohoo! Okay, do what you want to do. That's what I read. All right, I got to do this. You got to come up here, Cheryl. Please. I want to introduce y'all to somebody. This is Cheryl Taylor. You mind holding that, Mr. Taylor?
What do I do with it?
Y'all just don't understand. In my book, when I talk about the Cheryl Taylor, the man with a girl name, but I promise you, he's a man. Citadel graduate, one of my heroes of all time, has showed up at my show, and so I just want to introduce him to y'all. And I was thinking this morning, I was like, lessons that I learned from Cheryl Taylor. We don't have time to cover them all, do we, Cheryl?
You can probably go through one.
So,
one will be enough.
One will be enough. So, and then I was thinking, if I ask you, I know your memory of stuff is not going to be my memory of stuff. You know how when you're like, I remember this conversation, and you talk like Veronica, who is in the office. I'm back in the textile mill, because Veronica was an engineer at the facility where we worked at, and Cheryl was one of the department managers, area managers, had all kinds of titles, and most of the time I was working for him. Sometimes I was his peer, sometimes I was 2 down from him, but we were just around each other all the time and laughed a lot, and we just had a blast. I thought we was having a good time. And then I ended up leaving not long before you did. Oh, I was just thought about that time when you was going to fire me.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I can't forget it.
I forgot about that. I told his joker fire me. I said, do me a favor, man. Yeah, see how you remember this story. I said, I came in the office and I said, serious business. I need for you to fire me. And it's the way I remember it. I want to hear what you remember. But I remember you saying, you want your severance, don't you? It was like $5,000, but I needed it. You know, I can't imagine a day saying I need. But anyway, that's what I remember.
As I recall it, I think I told Andy that's exactly what I'm going to do. But the only problem, even though he wasn't doing what I wanted him to do, I needed him to do what little bit he was doing. For another 2 weeks, because I had a trip to New Orleans
to pick up your daughter,
to go with my daughter, and I knew if I fired Andy that day, I'd have to stay and run his job. So I told him when I got back, I said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fire you.
That's exactly what I remember. He said, I will fire you, but do me a favor. I got to go do something with my daughter. And if you'll just stay until I get back, I'll fire you when I get back. Do you remember how mad you was when you got back at me? Do you remember my office, how I cleaned it out?
Yeah, because I didn't think he'd be there when I got back.
So I cleaned everything out. And he was so mad when he got back because he didn't want his bosses and peers to know that we planned it. You called me names. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, the whole time I was in New Orleans, I was worried about my job because I figured when I got back and they put all the pieces together, I was really going to be in trouble. But as all of you people know, trying to control this animal, and when the only thing I had to offer him is if he did everything I asked him to do plus some, I might could give him a 4% raise every 12 months. He wasn't too receptive to that.
I remember we would walk around and I'd be like this right here because the union would be having negotiations. They said, what's that? I said, this raise you're going to get this year because what you got last 10 years in a row. Remember that? And it's like, you can't tell them that. I was like, well, it's the truth.
One story I want to tell. I've heard Andy talk about how he wants everybody to work hard and do all this stuff he's talking to y'all about, and I'm sitting over here listening, and I'm up here. I'm just a chauffeur, by the way, and but we would have slack time at the mill, and you know I required my supervisors and anybody under me, and of course my bosses did the same. We had to make work. We had to do something. The mill was down because of poor business for maybe a week. So we had to come in and work. Well, trying to get Andy to do manual labor. Because you got to keep in mind, he's an NC State graduate, you know, but he would go out, and he was really contaminating the rest of my workforce. Because he'd come back in with just face all wet. I thought he'd been out working. And then I found out he'd gone to the bathroom and took water and put all over his face and then come back in. That's your leader. So you need to watch him.
I tell them, act busy. You gotta, when people come in your office, you got to look busy. You got to be on the phone. Oh yeah, I'll talk to you later. What you need? It's the same program. How about this? I remember this. I'll be sitting in the office. Throw me your pen, Terry. So I'll be sitting in the office, and I would draw out. Well, I can do it. I can do it here. I would just go like this right here. And I was building my group, like I hired this lady who hired Adam Katz, who hired this one, and then, here was, this guy hired this guy who led to Fitz, and then here was another group, and then another guy, and all I was doing was putting dots on it. And that son of a gun looks at me, and he says, "You building that pyramid over there, ain't you, right now?" My mind was working, man. I was thinking about my group, man. You remember that, do you?
I knew when we had a fire at the mill at night at 11:30 or 12 not to expect Andy to show up because he was somewhere peddling Amway or something.
Every night.
Every night.
Every night. But people understand, this is what I tell people, Cheryl, they don't understand. They think I got here, I think it's silly to say because I'm smart. They think it's lucky, or they think I've got this talking ability that I can just talk people into stuff, right? Even these presidents of insurance companies, they think I can just say stuff. The truth is, I hired more ding-dong heads. I drove more. I just talked to 10,000 people. Like I talked to everybody in the mill. Like I had him. I thought I had him. Like I had, you know what? I mean, I worked. Not physical work. Not painting. But I mean, it's just, I was gone.
I even tried to get him into the antique furniture business.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
He almost completed one piece, and then when I told him what his cut was going to be, I didn't see him anymore.
The spread wasn't right. Wasn't no spread. You couldn't tear that thing. You know what I mean? You couldn't tear it. I had a problem with that. I said, we can't tear it.
He realized right quick that following my hobby was not what he needed to do.
Oh shoot! So you don't enjoy the beer as much as you used to, do you?
10 years sober.
10 years sober. So do you remember why you didn't? What you told me your reason was you didn't like Amway when he was out selling?
Probably because you had to be sober to sell.
We went driving all night. We showed the plan, or we like, and see, what I tell people, if you have a person that's fired up, go to their house, get on their computer and sign them up in insurance. And people say, like, well, it just ain't worth it. I go, you understand, that's how I got everything built, is I would go to people, I thought every person was important because they are. And so we would go to their houses. So one night I took him out, and I knew he was fired up. He said, this is a lot of fun. And so the next day I said, you gonna do this with me? He said, mm-mm. I said, why is that? He said, I can refinish my furniture and drink a beer while I'm fixing that furniture. You can't be driving around drinking. I'm not going to do that business. I mean, I've had a lot of good reasons, but I just went with that one. I went, you can't argue with that kind of logic. See, do you still have a ton of furniture out there? You got warehouses full?
I still have quite a bit, yeah.
Is it for sale in retail places throughout South Carolina?
I sell out of shop and done called Wisteria. It's on Broad Street.
And anywhere else you have it set up?
That's the only place I'm left now.
I bet you could set it up in 20 though, couldn't you? I mean, as far as the
could.
inventory.
Well, I could get the inventory.
Yeah, he did stuff where when I say Cheryl is retired successfully, and people say, like, and because I always talk about it don't work. Like 99, I say 99%. I even say to people it never works. That's what I say, because I don't want to confuse them with the one. You with me? But let me tell you something. What he did, Terry, every night that I was out there showing a plan, he was refinishing furniture. Every night. And listen to this. And Joanne, which is a significant other to you, she would say, why aren't you in here? You're always out there. Okay? Now, she's with him, and they're successful, and they've got grandbabies, and they travel. You with me? Every night. Because he loved it. You hear what I'm telling you? It was somebody in my life. He did what he did. I did what I did. Am I on that?
You're right, yes.
You listen to a little bit of grief.
A lot of grief.
I do this about 90. This is probably 50% of what I do is explain to them that the woman wants to be wealthy, but the man can't stay at home every night and be wealthy. You just can't. I don't know how that works. You with me? Not an 8 to 5, not a 9 to 5, or the man, and the woman wants to do something, and the man won't get off of her. Like, don't let her go out. You with me? Or the couples. Now, singles, they're mommies. Somebody telling them not to do it, not to step up. Somebody telling them it ain't worth. Somebody saying you're going to burn out at both ends. I'm 51 years old. I ain't about burned out. I'm fired up out of my mind. I'm going to fire all over. That's right. Does that make sense? I was burning on both ends, and I didn't burn up. I lit up. I blew up like Mount Fuji. Is that right?
You're 100%. See, this is what I was trying to get out of him when he was in textiles. But it was hard to get this when he'd been up all night, and then he comes dragging in at 5 after 8 in the morning, and I'm trying to have a meeting, and he's sitting over there about half asleep.
I knew what you were going to say.
Same thing I said the day before.
Oh, and I see you don't have your toothpicks anymore.
Nope.
A toothpick, when Cheryl takes his toothpick out of one mouth, put it in the other side of his mouth, you need to duck, Bo. Somebody will get ready to get cussed out. Here's the other thing I remember. This is one of my favorite things. When company was coming, you clean up. Just paint everything. Sweep, everything be right. Cheryl will say, you got it right? I'll be like, no. He says, it's supposed to be right? Yes, sir. Let's go look. I'll be like, no. He'd be like, go, get up. Let's go. And we walk anywhere you could stand. That son of a gun would stand there, and he'd say, like, what's that cup doing over there on the post? How come they didn't paint that? Who spit tobacco right here? He could stand there, and in 10 minutes, he could tell you 20 things that was wrong and just keep rattling them off. And no matter how much I walked around and looked, he could stand there. And so, and you remember that? So when people say to me now, you go, do you know anything I'm doing wrong? I'm just going, I think about Cheryl, and I'm thinking, yeah. Yeah, I do.
I can remember Andy asked me one time, did he ever do anything right?
What'd you say?
I can't remember what I told you on that one.
Oh, shoot. That was a lot of fun.
It was.
The other thing, a big one to remember, the little things. I remember sitting in a meeting, and they were telling us how they were going to build companies in Pakistan and Mexico, and it wasn't going to affect us. You remember that? And I leaned over to Cheryl. I said, are we working for idiots, or do they think we're idiots? And here's what I remember you saying. I don't know what you said, but this is what I remember. Shut up. You can get us fired before they're going to fire us. Well, now's your chance. You got anything big? You got anything crazy? Tell them the truth.
I'm kind of speechless. It's hard to follow you, but of course, all of y'all know Andy, and I haven't seen Andy in, 15 years at least. I think the last time I saw Andy, he stopped by, and I don't know whether he was trying to sell me something. I believe he was selling coupons at the time. I don't think he had quite gotten into or onto the path that he ultimately has led. But I always thought a lot of Andy when he worked for me or was supposed to be working for me or with me. And probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do was to sever his employment, even though that's what he wanted. But you've got a fine leader here, and I think if you just listen to him and follow the path that he's laid out for you, you'll have a lot of rewards in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you coming on board. Oh, that's a good man right there. I'm going to tell you what, we had some good times. Okay, so I want to talk to you about a new proposal. All right, so last Wednesday, and by the way, that one's not, that contest or that run is not over. I asked for 7 days of everything you got. I was like, just give me 7 days. And that was on a Wednesday, and I didn't want it to start till Friday, okay? So that's still in the works, and a couple people have come up to me and said, I didn't do it. I give you 50%, I give you 70%. I hear you. I'm not upset, okay? So that's still going on through tomorrow. That's 7 days. I want 100%. And whether you want to repeat it or not, it's all up to you. I ain't asking for it. Do it if you want to. Don't do it. It's your world, your life. I don't care. There was one thing that came across that I didn't mean to come. I know I didn't say it, but somebody interpreted it wrong. Okay, and here's the way it went. I'm talking, and I'm asking for 100%, and I'm asking you to give 100%. Does that make sense? It sounds. Don't overlook the simplicity. I want your heart, and I wanted your mind for 7 days, 100%, just to try it. And here's what one person did. This is the incorrect thing that happened. One person said to another person, I demand you do 7 days a week for this 7 days, and that includes your special time with your wife. You give that up. I was like, what'd he do? He said, what? Another one said to a guy, that includes your church. Can't go to church on Sunday, and you need to give it 100% on Sunday. And another one did something similar to that. You with me? Okay, what I said was not that. I didn't say that to anybody. I didn't come across, nobody felt like I came across like that to anybody, did they? If you felt like that from me, I need for you to know that that's what, that's what you heard. Because here's what I said, I'm going to repeat this. I'm looking for the craziest, most fanatical, most dedicated, most committed. I can't tell you what you got to do in your life right now. And I'm not mad at you if you don't do nothing for the next. I'm still going to be your friend. I'm still going to return your phone call. I'm still going to be nice to you. You won't be able to tell the difference. You won't be able to tell the difference. You won't be able to tell the difference. So if you can't tell the difference, why do you feel any pressure from me? I'm going to be nice no matter what. But then I have got to be harder, meaner, tougher, give more time to, demanding of the craziest. Does that make sense? So if you want me to be crazier with you, you be crazier. You give it 7 days. But Jeff, I don't care. I could care less. I promise you, I will be just crazy nice when I see you. It's just, so, because this was what God said. If you don't give me the 7, I'm going to write you off. You're not on the team. Why would you do that? We got a whole room over here for the not committed. That's right. You say, well, you're going to put him in a room for not committed? I ain't telling him. I don't want him to think he's not committed. I don't want, does that make sense? I'm not in the business of kicking people out. I'm in the business of bringing more people in. So I want it comfortable for the least of these. Does that make sense? I want it comfortable for the least of these. I want it uncomfortable for the craziest. So a guy don't want to do it because he's got something to do 3 nights a week. I want him to do that and be very comfortable here. So when people come to our hot spots, if they didn't sell and they're only here, I want them to feel loved. Does that make sense? I want them to feel like this is a place they can come and not be judged. Right. So to be clear, when I'm asking for this 100% 7 days, in no way did I, and the other thing is, Andy didn't turn around the next day and tell one individual this. This was a group presentation that I said I'm looking for this. But again, I kept saying be comfortable. So I feel like that's important that people don't do that to this time. Like, I'm going to tell you something. Listen, I'm talking here to your heart and your head. I'm not asking you to seek out an individual and demand him what I'm saying. I'm talking straight down. I'm working all the way down here to Studer. I'm working all the way down here to, I just read her name. What's my girl in Tennessee? Devin. I'm talking to Devin directly. I'm not telling DT to tell Devin. I'm telling Devin. This is what I need you to do. Okay? But I'm doing it like this. I'm saying, if you don't, I don't care. Like, it's a request with no pressure. Does that make sense? You know what it'd be like? It's like when a waitress comes up and says, hey, y'all want some ketchup? Y'all need some ketchup? Need some fries? Hey, does anybody want dessert? It's like that. Does that make sense? You say, but you're enthusiastic. Let me tell you something. That's the restaurants I like. I don't want to come up. You don't want no dessert. I want to come up and say, like, we got some homemade dessert. Y'all want some? That's what I want. I don't want them to come up. You say, oh, you don't want them selling you. I want to be sold, and I want the ability to say no, and them to go like, that's all right. How about some coffee? That's right. Does that make sense? So that's the presentation here. So this concept is called everybody do one. Just one. Okay, now, there's going to be a trick to it, but I'm going to show you the trick. Before I get into that, this is worth it. Yeah. Okay. All right, Mac. You need to understand this. You're going to have mistakes and disasters. And most people, they're going like, no kidding. Like, was you watching me last night? Okay, what I mean is you're not going to do 100% right. You're going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person. You're going to drink too much. You're going to say something off the cuff to your wife. You're going to see a commercial for Law and Order, and you're going to click on it, and you're going to get so fired up you're going to watch 3 more shows. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience for last night. But what I'm telling you is you got to get over stuff. So last week, you didn't do 100%. How do I get you to forgive yourself? You ain't got time to dwell on that crap you did yesterday. It's a new day. You got to, if I was not good at letting myself off the hook, I would be a mess. By the way, I'm still a mess. I can't imagine how big of a mess I would be, Brandon, if I didn't let myself off quicker. You've got to let yourself off quick so we can go do what's next. That's right. Like this morning, last night I was thinking, I am a moron. But I'm fired up because in the morning, I'm going to do better. That's right. I made a commitment. I'm going to tell Jane. I'm telling my son. I talked to Spencer, I talked to Haley last night. I'm telling y'all, I'm going to do better today. And I am going to do something productive today. And I've done good so far. All right. I've had a good day. Well, and here's what I'm predicting, a whole good day. But I'm going to tell you this, and this is not talking myself into it. I'm just telling you, I am confident that I'm going to mess up again. Y'all, and I love y'all, but y'all going to do it too. You got to quit beating yourself up, though. You hear me? Yeah. You can't do that. You can't get anywhere beating yourself up on yesterday. That mess is gone. I ain't got time for that. That's right. You ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. Get good at saying this to yourself. That was stupid. I'm going to do better next time. Tomorrow night, I'm drinking water. Tomorrow night, when I'm supposed to shut up, I'm going to shut up. Tomorrow night, when somebody tries to get my goat, I'm going to zip it. And I'm going to go, And I'm going to think about something else. They're not going to get me with the emotional. I'm not going to respond. I'm going to do like this. Mm-hmm. That's right. I know. I'm going to say this to them. I'm going to say, I know that's right. And I'm going to kind of mumble it so they ain't sure what I said. And they say, what'd you say? I said, I know that's right. That's what I said. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to start doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, every time that split second comes into my mind now about yesterday or that thing I did last month that was stupid, that bad move I made, I go to myself, you ain't perfect, fool. Don't pretend like you Jesus. Don't act like you some God or something. You're human anyhow. Just expect it. It's probably going to happen again. Now, what do you need to do right now? You hear what I'm saying? What do you need to do right now? What do you need to do right now? Because that's yesterday. And then when it pops up again, I say the same thing. I say, how arrogant are you to think you're perfect? What the hell? Where'd that come from? That's beyond arrogant to think you're perfect. You know you're going to make up. Now let's go. Now what do you need to do next? To change your life. I was talking to Tim Goad. He landed in Minnesota, and he's like, Andy, that's the one thing. He said there's two things. That's the one thing that you're freaky about. Focus. He calls it focus. I get right back on the task. I'm working on this lady. I'm going to get her in her. Her name's Bonnie St. John. She's a one-legged lady that was a downhill skier, is a downhill skier, skiing on one leg, and she talks about getting up. You can imagine if you're a downhill skier in one leg, you're going to do some getting up in your life. You know what I mean? You say, well, it just strikes me as it's going to happen. You're going to have to get up. Well, you say, well, that's natural that she's going to have to get up a lot. You're human. You're going to have these times more often than you prefer. Quit thinking you're somebody that you aren't. You're not that guy. You're not that perfection. Stop it, or I'll bury you alive in a box. Does that make sense? Hey, stop it, or you'll bury yourself alive in a box.
That is true.
Yeah, you're messing yourself up. You can't. We just can't. You got verbally say, "I ain't perfect. What I got to do now?" And then you get out your white sheeting, whatever you take notes, and you go, "All right, that's what I got to do now." You say, "And I'm going to eventually forget about it." No, you won't. You're always going to remember your mistakes. But you got to quit, you just can't dwell on them. You got to focus on what's next and what's most important. What's got to get done today? What would change my business? What would change my relationship with my wife? What would change my relationship with my kids? What one thing could I do today that propels it forward as opposed to my stupid, see, I keep bringing it back up. I can't help it because I want to talk about the stupidness. It just don't do any good. I got to think about what I got to do. I got to focus on this has got to happen. I got to do this note. I got to do this plan. I got to get this lesson. I got to call Spencer. I got to text Jane. I got to text her I love her. I got to do. It's what I got to do. And try to stay on that. And then don't be shocked when it don't work out and you start messing up again. Okay? This is big. It's reset. Okay. Got that one. All right. Now the one thing. Do one thing. All right, so here's the way it's going to work. Y'all know how this thing works. You hire 2 people, and then you get this person to hire 1. See how that works? That's team builder, right? Well, here's what I want to do. I want everybody to sell 1 policy this week. I'm going to sell a policy. I'm going to get Jane to sell a policy. Spencer, I got to get him another chapter because he's not licensed yet. He's a junior in high school, but he's in class. I got to get him further along, so I can't. Everybody that's licensed, I want you to sell a policy, minimum 1. If you say all you want is everybody to sell 1 this week, no. I want everybody to sell 1. Here's the way it's going to look. We're going to have this person sell 1, this one 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And I want thousands of people to sell 1 policy. But Terry, Angela, Brant Swindale, I want you to sell 12. Maybe 13. Debbie Ben, 14. So here's the way it's going to work. We're going to have 1 person sell 18 policies this week. Okay? Justin Balick told me he had his best week ever, $21,400 in premium on 12 apps this past week. I wish he'd have done it this week. Matter of fact, go for it again, Justin. Okay? There's one person. There's 2 people. So this person's going to sell 18 apps. There's going to be 2 people sell 17 apps. And there's going to be 8 people that sell 16. But what I'm looking for is this is the big number I want. You with me? Y'all see how this is going to shape out, don't you? It's going to go like that. Y'all know that. Yeah. Y'all know I'm partial to that shape right there. I like the Jane Albright shape. It's my number 1 shape in the world. Y'all know what I mean? And this is the other shape I like. If I had a preference, it's going to be wide at the bottom. Like my friend said, I like big butts. You with me? Wide in the bottom. You with me? I want a lot of people to sell 1. And I want fewer people to try to get 2. You with me? So I want you to do what you can do with a minimum of 1. What if your whole hierarchy, what if the Stephen Davies group didn't have 1 person miss this week? In other words, everybody got 1 this week in the whole Stephen and Holly Davies group. Wouldn't that be the craziest thing? Yeah. God, Lord have mercy. And then everybody that can do 2, do 2. And these heroes that been knocking out 7, 8, 12, do it again. Don't panic. You got it. Now, we are in October. This month, we could have more what we call unique recruiters than we've had in the history of the company this month. Does this make sense? Here's the way this goes down. Is you recruit somebody, you get this person contracted. Okay? That makes you a unique recruiter. Okay? We have unique writers, which is when you write a policy and you get a check, you're a unique writer. We have a chance in the month of October having more people recruit 1 person than we've ever had in the history of the company. I know. Because that is a sign of things to come. Because when a person, let me tell you something, the least indicator of your prosperity, your profitability, is premium. A lot of people don't know that. And I love premium, baby. Woo! I thought of 3 things I can't say after saying that I could have come out of my mouth. Y'all think crazy stuff come out of my mouth. You should have heard this stuff went through my mind right then. I can't tell you. I like premium. I love premium. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? I'm saying it again. I love premium. But that's the least indicator of success that you can have. What is, Andy, what's the most? The people you have recruiting. You me tell you something? Cheryl Taylor being here is phenomenal. But you want to tell you, this blows my heart up. He brought his son-in-law. He said I'm a driver. People recruiting people is the indicator of your success. Unique recruiting agents whose building says, I endorse what we're doing. It's good enough for my son-in-law. It's good enough for my child. It's good enough for my neighbor. It's so good I'll run a Craigslist, baby. I'm going to tell the world. I'm going to let this little light of mine shine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's right. Come on here.
Okay, so now we've got a plan, right? Everybody's going to recruit 1 this week. Everybody's going to sell 1. You say, you just want 1 of each? No, I want as many as you can do of each, but it's the people that sometimes skip a week. I need a minor correction right up in here. All right, so now, given the assignment, what are we going to do? Okay? Okay, I'm going to give you 3 things. All right, Mac, we're on track with this one. There's 3 things that when you're in a situation, you got a project that you need to accomplish, or when you're upside down and somebody's on you, or when you got an insurmountable odds, there's 3 things you need to always think. Okay? 3 things. All right, you want to go EVP. You want to make $1 million a month. They're getting ready to take your house, and you don't want them to take it. There's 3 things you got to do. Okay? This is real simple. This will change your life if you think like this. Something's going on in your life, like right now, I'll give you a task, so you've got a task to do. So you should be thinking these 3 things. Do you know what those 3 things are? Okay, and here they are. Number 1, what can I do? D-O, what can I do? Number 2, who can I ask? And number 3, what can I read? So whatever it is, my child wants to go to this school and I can't afford it. I can't figure out how to recruit. I've talked to 20 people and nobody's contracted. What's the 3 things you need to be thinking? What can I do? Who can I ask? What can I read? This is big. This is life-changing stuff right here. As simple as that is. People say, Andy, you really think like that? Yeah, I know I do. That's what I always do. Ask Nito Cobain. Ask John Maxwell. Ask Tim Goad. Ask Jeff Bright. In a heartbeat, I say, Jeff, check my thinking. Mac will tell you. I go, Mac, or Amber will tell you, my secretary. I go, find this book. Go find this book. And I go to my desk and I go like, and I thumb through it and I look for something that applies to what I'm trying to get accomplished. And the other thing I start doing is, what action, what move, what physical thing can I do right now? Now, oh, by the way, here's what most people think. This is what they spend time thinking about. What I can't do. I can't write business. I ain't even licensed yet. I know. I hear you. That's what people do. They go what I can't do. I don't need you thinking about that. You have split seconds. Every second counts. You're in a situation. You're in a situation every split second. Not every minute, every second. You ain't got time for what I can't do. What can you do? Can you go to your calendar? Can you open your calendar up? Can you open up a book and read a little bit from it? Would a prayer help? Could you close your eyes? Could you pray? Can we do that? Who's done what you're trying to get done? Who's done this before? Do you have their phone number? I don't know the phone number. I don't know how to get in touch with them. Stop it with the can't do. Do you know anybody who knows that person? Do you know a person who's seen it happen before? Does that make sense? What can you do? Can you call them? Do you know a really smart person who's dealt with a bunch of stuff before? Can you call him? He won't return my phone calls. Can you drive over there? What can you do? Let's get on it. And I have never had a situation ever that reading one of the books off our list didn't help. It always 100% helped me to read that book. Okay, we got agents. We got people that'll call us and they're very upset about something. Very upset. Very upset. And our first thing is to calm them down. So let's do this. You are in charge of you. The first thing you need to do is what we're going to try to do to you is calm down. Pick up Think and Grow Rich and read a chapter and see how that applies to the situation you're all upset about. That answer is closer than any answer you can come up with out of your head. Did you notice I didn't say think? I did not say think. You're not in a thinking position. You're in an emergency position. You're in a goal-setting program where you're trying to hit a goal. Thinking about it, but Andy, you always say thinking's the highest paid stuff. Okay, I ain't trying to pay you. I'm trying to get something done. And what we're trying to get done here needs you to think about what you can do and think about a book. So that's the thinking. The thinking ain't got new trying to figure it out. It's just what can you do right now? What book can you read? Who can you call? Okay. All right. So now I'm back to your subject of one person recruited, one sale. What can you do? Right? What can you do? Well, you need to get some leads. So, well, wait a minute, wait. I'm not licensed yet. Okay, what you could do is you could try to get through licensing quickly. So you could go call somebody and say, look, I've been on this thing for 2 weeks. I've been on it for 2 days, and I want to get through tonight. What can I do? And if they say, well, there's nothing you can do, what you need to do is just write that goal off. That's what you need to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they listen to the people. Listen to somebody that can tell you what you need to do. All right. You can fill out the application for yourself if you're not written a policy. So I want to get as close as I can to what Andy said. I want to write a policy. Okay, just got your license. You just got your license. I can't afford no leads. Could you ask one of your upline, would you give me some? Would you let me borrow some? Can you loan me leads? I'll pay you back later. What can you do? Y'all hear what I'm telling you? You could start booking appointments. I got leads. What can you do, though? Like right now, that's what people say. Right now, I'm riding down the road. I can't book appointments, and I don't know what my schedule is. When can you do? Look at you. Do you have your calendar on your phone? Could you schedule phone calls? So in order to get this one sale done, we know we got to book appointments. Or if you can't, if you family members, can you call every family member and say, look, we're having a deal. Be honest. We're having a deal. Everybody's trying to sell one. I just need you to buy one. I just need you to look. Let me ask you this. If you can't buy, would you look? Remember? What can we do? Can we get them to look? Y'all hear me? This is big. Now, how many people can you get in your organization? And what if everybody you ever hired sold one this week? What would we do, volume-wise? Now, recruiting-wise, what can you do? How about this? NAA University. I know what I could do. Have you ever said, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know what I can do. Have you ever heard anybody say that? Do you know what Nito Cobain or Tim Goad would say when you say, I don't know what I can do? Y'all know this is like the line. This is what they come out with 99.9% of the time. They go like this. If you knew what to do, what would that be? You just got through telling them you don't know what to do, and then they say, if you did know what to do, what would you do? They do that too. And I mean, the first time I read it, I was like, that does not make any sense. But it does. Because you say, like, I don't know what I should do. Well, what do you think you should do? I don't know what I think I should do. Well, if you thought you knew what you would do, what do you think you would do if you thought? And all of a sudden, you'll come up with the most bizarre comment back. I about made a guy cry in my office the other day. By the way, sorry about that, buddy. I didn't mean to be so mean to you. But he said, I got no idea. And I said, if you had an idea, what would it be? Because I was asking about a couple. I was like, what is wrong? What is their hang up? What is their situation? How come they're not doing anything? I got no idea. And I was like, if you had an idea, what would your idea be? And he said, well, I tell you what I think it is. And then he didn't shut up for 5 minutes telling me everything was wrong with him. So the first time he hit me was, I don't know. And then he goes on and on. I was like, a while ago, I don't got no idea now. But it's just asking him a second time. So you ask yourself a second time, if I knew what to do, what would I do? And then here's another way to say it. Guess. If you guessed what to do, what would you guess? That's why we do you know. You know that, right? Because most people do know. But they got to ask themselves, what would you do? Here's a question for you. What would you do if you knew you had to recruit one person this week? What would you do? If you had to, what would you do? I don't know. What do you think you would do? What would you do if you knew this week determined the rest of your life if you was going to be a multimillionaire? What if you knew that recruiting one person would change your life? What if you knew that this one person was going to be Alex Fitzgerald? I don't remember. I remember first when I first met him, hanging around Jeff and my brother and Wes and all those guys. What would you do if you knew he was in the room? What if you knew that he was in your phone? What would you do? Would you call everybody in there to get to him? What if you knew that the land you own had an oil mine? What would you do? Yeah, I'd start digging. I'd never forget, first seminar I went with you was Kay Wallace. And she was holding the mic like this right here. And she said, she had diamonds like unbelievable, sparkling. I was in a seminar with Veronica Hedges, and she says, if you knew you were on a gold mine, what would you do? Would you be cheap? Would you get a spoon and start digging? Would you kick around in the dirt? Or would you go get a pick and start hammering? I was thinking, I'd give me a bulldozer. I'd borrow the money. I'd put it on a credit card. I'd go bizarre crazy. And here's what she said. You're on a gold mine. And that one day in Fayetteville, North Carolina, at the Ramada Inn, when she said that, messed me up. Changed my whole mindset. I started buying every cassette tape I could. I bought every book I could buy. I went to every seminar without question. Because she said, the gold mine is in your head and in your heart. You need to start digging. And she said, if you can find other people with a dream, you get crazy rich. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been wanting to get rich all my life. I remember I said this the other day, that once I found out that I didn't have to go to school, like university, to get rich, I snapped. I quit. I was getting my master's degree. I said, forget that. What do you not have to do? What do you have to do? I went right to what I have to do. You with me? What I have to do is read. Now, here's the next thing. I went so crazy, I had an inventory of thousands of dollars of stuff that people could easily access for their head and heart. Does that make sense? I went in debt. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go in debt. Okay, I don't care what you do. I'm telling you what I did. Now, people say, prove it. I'll tell you how to prove it. Go look at my store now. And when you see that store, let's go down to the basement and see the inventory. I got pallets of books, pallets of CDs, pallets of new agent starter back. And I see people penny pinch, nickel and dime their business. You're on top of a gold mine, what would you do? Phone numbers. I see people with 400 people in their Facebook, 400 people on Twitter, and they've talked to seven people. What if you found Eric Belair in your phone book? What if the person you called knew Niall? What if they knew Terry and Tia? You understand what I'm saying? It's action. It's what do you got to do? Okay. What we're going to do next week is we're going to take a look at it, and I'm going to tell you the numbers. I'm going to give you. I'm going to say, all right, we had one do 18. Here's who it was. We had 17 people. No, we had 3 people do 17 apps. And I'm going to tell you who those are. And I'm going to wish that I could read out 1,000 names. Matter of fact, what I might do is just list every name. Matter of fact, I'm telling my staff, I want to list every person that sells one, and I want to be able to just go brrrr and just go down it. And I want to have to sit here and do this thing for 30 minutes just going down the number of people that did one. Does that make sense? So we're going to do the top ones. We're going to get up in here, and we're going to see how many people, and we're going to see the shape that it creates. We're going to see if it creates my favorite shape. How predictable is this, though, right? It's very predictable that one person's going to be up here. That's not hard to predict. What's hard to predict is you. I don't know who you are. I'm not trying to hold you down because of your education. I'm not trying to hold you down because you're a female. I'm not hold you down because your mama wasn't right. Don't get personal. I'm not hold you down because your education, because you went to community college. I'm not going to hold you down because you dropped out of community college, because you went to NC State. That's country school. That's where they have cows and stuff and farmers. Ain't that where state is? Yeah, that's where it is. Trying to hold me down because of that? I'm not trying to hold you down for that. I'm not trying to hold you down for your religion. I'm not trying to hold you down because you don't want to work on Sunday. I'm not trying to hold you down because your children ain't right. I understand. You try to do the best they can. I can't. I know they do stuff. Let them go. I can't predict who you are because I can't see your heart. I just got through telling somebody when I first met them that I didn't know. But they came back and I heard their circumstances and I said, you know what? That person or you got it. You got it. You are special. You are one of them. You're one of the chosen. But you know what? I can't tell everybody that. I don't know. This one I know. This one I told. You tell you. You tell me, are you one of them that's going to figure out a way to recruit one person this week? You say, well, I don't know if I can get them through class. Can you get them in class? How about if everybody we can fast track at least one? So can we fast track 10 people? Fast track 10 people. Contract 10 people. It's the one. Y'all hear me? So next week, matter of fact, did anybody give me 100% for 7 days? Anybody in here? Anybody do 100%? Nobody gave 100%? Bunch of failures. Let me tell you something. Watch. Does anybody give 100% this week? I didn't. Okay. Now, how many of you think you can do the one? Raise your hand if you do the one. One sale, one recruit. One sale. Jeff, I think you can get one recruit. One recruit. One recruit. I think you get one. I don't know if you can get right a sale because you ain't licensed yet. So how many people, see, this week I've dropped the bar way down. Does that make sense? This week I went way down. It's just one. Because I felt like the 100%, pretty sure we got 100% failure. Now, Balak would say, whoa, Daddy, I had $21,000. I had to look it up, $21,000 in sales last week, Andy. I gave it 100%. And I'd go, don't tell me no junk, Balak. I know you didn't work 168 hours last week. You with me? But he did probably do more than he's ever done. Now, well, I know he did. He says a record week, 21,000. To clue you in, Cheryl and Jeff and a couple back here, I'm not sure if everybody knows, at 55%, which is our lowest level over here, you would make $11,000 for those sales. And by the way, Balak's 25 years old and single. And 1 week, $11,000 a week. Oh, and he ain't at the lowest level. I think he is a key leader, so he's at 80% of that. So $15,000, $16,000 in a week. And people don't understand. Now, let's say you hired him, and he's a key leader, and you're a district manager. Give yourself a 10% spread on $20,000. That's $2,000 in sales override that week. So when he sold $20,000, the person that's 10% above him gets $2,000 in a week. See, that's the kind of margin I was looking for with that furniture. It's dang hard. It's dang hard to make money out of thin air in the furniture business. And I did finish one. I got it sitting in my house, in my living room right now. Dadgummit. I think I spent $90 worth of paint remover to getting that thing down to the wood original. That's worth. Anyway, let's move on. Okay? Okay, y'all hear what I'm telling you? Everybody going to do one. This is the 1 week. This is the 1 week we do one. And we'll look back at it and say, Andy, that second week in October, why are we doing this? Most recruiting agents in a month that we've ever had. The most people that ever recruited one. Why are we doing the sale one every week? Because we've got to have some money. So we get everybody to do one. If you hadn't ever sold one, bend over triple backwards. Whatever you got to do, go all out and get that one. Okay? All right. I got all kinds of texts, people saying I'm on it. I'm going to do it today. Okay. Last thing. This is important. Brandon, come up here. You mind? Brandon Burton. Y'all give him a hand. Woo! How you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
All right. Tell everybody where you're from and just a couple of comments about Brandon Burton.
Brandon Burton, hired by Pamela Moore My hot spot is Virginia Beach.
And how long have you been with us?
I've been with NAA since January.
Okay, what did you like about this program when you first saw it? What were the attributes that made you think, man, that's a pretty good thing, I'm going to give it a try?
I would definitely say the leads. The leads were what brought me in. I've done insurance before.
So you already had a license?
Yeah, I had a license.
Okay.
And they handed me a phone book. Was like, call some people, go business to business.
The other company?
Yeah, the other company.
So you saw those leads and you're like, I think I could do that. Now, when did you graduated from Virginia Tech or University of Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia, University of Virginia, UVA.
Yeah, UVA.
Okay, and what's your degree?
Psychology.
Psychology. And were you a 4-year scholarship? Were you on scholarship?
Yes.
For what?
4-year track and field scholarship athlete.
Okay, and what was your, what do you do? In the track and field, what do you do? What's your
Track and
job?
field, I run the 400 hurdles.
Okay, and so that's what you did all through college?
Yes.
Okay. So you're still in training right now, right?
Yes.
Can you be a professional track 400-yard hurdle person? Does anybody pay you yearly to do that?
Not right now. You have to have sponsorships from athletic companies like Nike.
So you could get sponsored by Nike or somebody like that.
Yes.
What would you have to do to get that? What type of what kind of accomplishment? Would you have to run the 400 in a certain amount of minutes, a certain amount of seconds? Would you have to win a championship? What would you have to do to get endorsements?
You pretty much have to be in the spotlight, running at all the big meets, all the big track meets, and just have the time.
Now, are you running in meets now?
No, my first meet is in December.
So you're going to start in December.
Yes.
Now, is that because they're not going on now?
Yeah, they're not going on right now.
Okay. Now, where are you going to compete in December?
December, the first meet is in New York.
Or what type of organization is putting it on?
It's an indoor track and field meet, and it's a USA track and field.
So it's a USA track and field. So what's your big goal? What do you want? What's your big goal in track and field? What do you want to accomplish?
My big goal is to run in the Olympics in Rio next year, 2016. Yeah.
You think you got a shot?
Yeah, I got a shot.
My friend Brandon Burton right here, track Olympics. We want you there, man. Like, we want you there, buddy.
That's right.
Did the flexibility of this business help you as far as knowing that you could go do track and field, go meets?
Definitely. When Pam Moore called me, she was like, man, you could definitely you can work 15 hours a week. I was working in a smoothie shop, working about 20 hours part-time, making like $250 every 2 weeks.
$250. $250 for 2 weeks.
Yeah, minimum wage.
And you work about 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So 40 hours, you get they pay you $250.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what did she tell you?
She told me I already had my license and I knew how lucrative insurance was. So could be. And I was like, hey, I'll give it a shot.
Now, but in the beginning, I'm trying to remember, didn't something happen and she drove over to see you, or your applications were messed up? Do you remember anything about that?
Oh, yeah. In the beginning, I was terrible. Like,
what?
I was horrible.
What?
I had a client who, we wrote an application with him, and I screwed it up. It was a smart UL, and you can't do those over the phone. I messed up the premium and everything. I didn't have any money. I was running business in Stafford County.
You didn't have gas money, did you?
No, I didn't have gas money.
Has anybody ever told you, I don't have gas to come over there? And I can tell you something. Most people are not that honest with you. And by the way, I'm gonna tell you, some of my friends that I know out there, you're too uppity. that people won't tell you the truth. You're too uppity. I don't. You ever felt like I'm uppity?
No,
Pam Moore uppity?
no,
No.
definitely.
You with me? You're too uppity. You're too up in the clouds. Like I mean, my thing was like, like I own a jet. You know what I mean? Like, but I can't act like that person. Y'all know what I mean? I'm me. I'm Andy. You got to tell me the truth. You didn't have the money to pay gas.
No.
How far do you live from Pam?
Pam, I live about an hour and 15 minutes.
So do you remember the conversation you had with Pam when it was all messed up and you didn't have any more money?
Mm-hmm.
Relate that conversation. Tell us what happened.
I gave Pam a call, was like, Pam, I got this guy, I got to get it right. His application isn't going through. I need some money for my rent and all this stuff. And Pam was like, all right, what are we going to do? She told me, hold on 1 second, I'll give you a call back.
What are we going to ask?
She went upline and talked to Pam Parrish, gave me a call back, and was like, Brandon, this is what we're going to do.
Come up here, Pam. There's Pam Parrish right
We're
here.
going to...
Yeah, get Pam. Yeah. What we going to do, who we going to call, right? So I'm going to call Pam Parrish. Does that make sense? He called Pam, and Pam going to call Pam. Then what had happened?
And then we came to the conclusion that since Pam was running business up there, in the next couple of days, she was going to stop by and take care of that for me because I didn't have the gas money. And she actually went in the home and wrote another application for herself, which was really good.
Okay, listen to me. She went to the client's house that he'd already sold and got that application complete, and you got paid on it.
Yes.
Now, most people won't do that for anybody. But Pam, will you do that for somebody? See, this business is an opportunity to serve. That's right. Not an opportunity to be served. This is big. Yeah, it is. Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Pam, how long you work with us?
11 years.
I'm going to tell you this about 10th time or 20th time or 100th time. We love you. You're incredible. We need you. You're very important to the Alliance.
And I
Y'all
love
hear
you
what I'm saying?
That's
and
right.
the Alliance. Thank you.
You know it. I'm not kidding with you. She was, I want to say Cato,
Yeah, that was
Retail.
before here. Yeah, retail management. Yep.
retail management. She said, I want to answer the phone for you. I want no stress. I don't want to be talking to nobody, but just say hello and then give them the right place. You with me? Now what she does is she coaches people all over the United States of America, and she's phenomenal. That's right. Okay? And I remember she used to start talking to people, and I was like, you're incredible. I just need you to do more of that. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Eventually I hired another secretary because I was like, you got to do this. You wait, you're 10 times better at this. Try to tell us the conversations you had with Pam Moore that you told her you recommend she go over there. Can you remember it?
I do remember Pam and I have worked together a long time, and I do know we've come through a lot of struggles, and she came from a deep, dark place in the beginning.
She did.
And now, she would come, we would talk, and she would get very emotional. And it's awesome to see her now, the way she's grown, and she can handle things a lot better.
If we'd have pushed her away,
Yes.
we could have wrote her off, couldn't we?
Yes, we could have.
But we saw her heart. We loved on her. We didn't tell her, if you don't do 7 days, you ain't with us.
Exactly.
We wasn't mean to her.
No, she has a heart of gold. You just gotta to help people like that. You've got to let people know that they can always come back, and they are always welcome to come back, no matter what. And they've always, they got to feel that we have their back no matter what they do.
Right.
Whatever mistakes they make, just like myself, every day I learn something new, and I continue to learn something new. Things you've told me years ago, sometimes I'm hearing them for the 100th time, but I'm like, oh, because of the books I've read, because you hang in there with me, I understand now. So I want to treat other people the same way. I want them to know that you've made that mistake, but you're going to grow, I'm going to grow, and let's pick it up again. Let's start again today new.
So did you say, Pam, can you help him? Will you go over there? How did that? Do you remember if you suggested, or did she ask you if that was okay?
I think she came up with that and said, because she checks with me a lot, but there's a lot of times, Pam, hey, here's what do you think I should do that? So I'm thinking Pam wanted to do that and help him,
So if he drives an hour and a half, he gets a commission. Now, here's what I like about Pam. She got another sale while she was there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So do you remember how much you got off of that one sale? Do you remember how much your deposit was?
It was over $800.
How much did $800 mean to you at that particular time in your life?
A lot, because then I bought my ticket to go to convention. So.
Yeah.
Do I set these things up or what? I mean, so as soon as you got that, you bought your ticket to go to convention.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for people with the right heart. You're looking for people that love people. Pam Moore loves people. She drove over there. This joker's awesome. Yes, he is. And she first met, she introduced him. Pam's like, I'm telling you, here's what she said, he's a good guy. That's what you're looking for, is good people. And you've proved it over time. And anybody messing with you, we're going to whoop them. And anybody messes with Pam, we're all going to jump on her head and stomp them with track cleats.
That's
ow,
right.
ow, ow, ow. What's the biggest income week? Do you keep up with income weeks or months? What's your biggest you've had so far with us?
Week or month.
Either one.
Biggest income month was $75,000 issue paid. I mean $7,500.
$7,500.
Issue paid.
Issue paid. And how much checks? Do you remember? You have any idea how much you would make?
Off of that, I'm at.
And if you do the math, you don't know how much you made.
No.
So you're just paying your bills.
Yeah.
Are you making over $2,000 a month?
Yes.
You making over $3,000 a month?
Probably right at average 3,000.
So around $3,000 a month. And you got, now you're hiring people now
Mm-hmm.
and selling. So you're selling and hiring people,
Right.
right? Are you still, how often do you work out track-wise?
7 days a week.
7 days a week. How many
Yes.
hours do you put in on that?
3 to 4 hours a day.
7 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm not being mean. I don't care what the answer is. Do you do 3 to 4 hours a day in your business, 7 days a week?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that leaves you about 128 more hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
right? Does that make sense? 3 to 4 hours a day in track, 3 to 4 hours in this business leaves him 128 to watch television, play cards, play video games, anything you want. Could you imagine if we had an army of people that would do that? Oh yeah, it's coming, baby.
That's right.
It's coming. And he might put in 5-6 hours a week in his business, a day in his business. I don't know. But that's how that. Find people with the right heart, find people with the right mind, people that want something better for themselves and the family. We need one app. We need one recruit. Let's make it happen. Check in with you next week. Love you. Glad y'all tuned in.